Okay, so we're back here with strategy 4 and we're ready to go over the answers. This one is on using correct punctuation. So make sure that you have done the work that goes along with strategy 4 here in TABE Language M before you watch this video, and we'll be going over the answers. All right, moving down to the first page of guided practice. Number 1, so we're supposed to list the words that should be followed by a comma, but also to explain why. So first of all, Jerry. So the speaker is using her name to address the person. And let's see if there's some others that I missed. No, that's the only one we need. Okay, so from 2 through 5, we're giving the reason that the comma appears or should appear, and we're putting it in there. It actually says to circle the word, but I just went ahead and put the comma in there. So in number 2, the comma should come after swimmer. This is an introductory independent clause. I'm sorry, it's an independent clause, not an introductory independent clause. And we need the comma in coordinating conjunction, the fanboy and, to put the sentence together. Okay, and number 3, we need a comma after sunscreen and flippers. These are items in the list. Don't forget the comma after the second to last thing in the list, the Oxford comma. There it is. Okay, number 4, we have the introductory phrase, and it's not a clause, it's a phrase. There's not a subject-verb relationship with it, but it does begin the sentence. So after on the other hand, there's our introductory phrase. And then in 5, we have this interrupting clause. It actually interrupts at the end of the sentence. But Leroy wanted to go out for lunch, comma, didn't he? All right, to the multiple choice, number 6, which sentence is written correctly? It's B, your parents are coming to the play Friday, comma, aren't they? Kind of like number 5, same sentence model. And number 7, which sentence is written correctly? And it's B, yes, Lamar still needs a ride to the game. And in this one, that introductory word or interjection, we're following up with a comma. The comma is placed in the wrong place in some of these other options. Okay, number 8, which sentence is written correctly? And it's this one. The races were held in the Colorado towns of Fairplea, Leadville, and Buena Vista during the summer months. So we have the correct use of commas in the list there. Right, we're moving to the section where we're looking at quotations and how to use commas to set up quotations. And of course, the quotation marks themselves. So in number 9, we need the comma after the signal phrase. So after Walt Disney said, and of course it goes outside of the quotation marks in this case because it appears before the quotation. Okay, so for 10 through 13, we're circling the words that should be followed by a comma, kind of like I did on the previous page. I just put the comma in there. In 10, we don't have a quote. There's no need for a comma at all. It's a bit of a trick question there. But in 11, after the signal phrase, the cowboy yelled. But in 12, we need it after the quote, but still inside the quotation marks because the signal phrase comes at the end. And in 13, it's a lot like 11. We have the comma after the signal phrase, Carrie asked softly. And then, of course, we have the correct punctuation mark that ends the sentence in the original quote inside the quotation marks. All right, and the last 3 here are multiple choice questions. In 14, which sentence is written correctly? And D correctly punctuates the quote. Here we have the signal phrase coming in the middle, which means we're going to have a comma that follows the beginning of the quote in quotation marks. The signal phrase, a comma after it, just like we would have if it were in the beginning. And then the rest of the quote, we don't capitalize plays because the sentence doesn't start there. It starts back here with that station, and then we end the quote with the correct punctuation and close the quotation marks. Okay, and 15, which sentence is written correctly? This one, she said, pointing at the library sign. This comma is placed in the correct spot because we have this interrupting phrase at the end, pointing at the library sign. So we're kind of looking at both situations, how to punctuate a quote, but then also using a comma to offset that interrupting or ending phrase there. And then lastly, in 16, which sentence is written correctly? And D does everything right. We have the quotes in quotation marks. We have the comma that ends the quote and leads into the signal phrase, which ends the sentence. All right, there you go. That's punctuating quotations with commas and quotation marks. There's definitely going to be some extra practice for you on this one in this strategy, this section of the module. So don't forget to do that. Certainly that practice will pay off quite a bit on the TABE and the GED. Comma placements and the punctuation of quotes are certainly things you can expect to see on those tests. Okay, I'll see you next time for Strategy 5. Have a good one.